Hello. Right, this is my first live show, and today my mask is the mask of my Buddhist mask, and I'd like to share something on the eternity of life. The eternity, from this book, Dick Causton's The Buddha in Daily Life, and this is chapter on page 137. The eternity of life. When most people think about Buddhism and death, the word that immediately springs to mind is reincarnation, with all its attendant connotations of the possibility of being reborn, people being reborn as animals or even insects, as some kind of punishment for actions committed in previous lifetimes. This is almost a caricature of what Buddhism teaches about death, for while it would be of no exaggeration to say that the problems posed by death lie at the heart of Buddhist philosophy, the challenge of death has always been viewed by Buddhism as a means way to live. Shakyamuni, you will remember, left the comfort of his palace to discover the answer to the four universal sufferings of humankind: birth, sickness, aging, and death. In order to then teach people how to overcome those sufferings, reaching an understanding of the true nature of death was his greatest challenge. His desire to meet this challenge was born out of his great compassion for humanity. As he says, quote Nichiren Daishonin, "Ever since my childhood, I have studied Buddhism with one thought in mind. Life as a human being is pathetically fleeting. A man exhales his last breath with no hope to draw in another. Not even dew borne by the wind suffices to describe this transience. No one, wise or foolish, young or old, can escape death. My sole wish has therefore been to solve this eternal mystery. All else has been secondary." End quote. Instead of dwelling on the possible vagaries of reincarnation, Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism stresses the importance of realizing deep within oneself the truth of the eternity of life. This idea is not to be confused with the Christian concept of an individual soul living eternally after death in either heaven or hell. Rather, the Buddhist concept of the eternity of life places the life of the individual in the context of the universe as a whole, asserting that since the entire universe exists in one form or another throughout eternity, so must all living beings contained within it exist eternally in one form or another. Thus, no living being can be created, and neither can it be destroyed. What appears to be creation and destruction is, in reality, simply the power of renewal inherent in the limitless life force of the universe at work in an ever-changing variety of forms, like a huge kaleidoscope. Neither is this process random, but rather follows an unending cycle of birth, maturation, decline, and death, according to the law of the universe. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. This profound concept of the eternity of life thus anticipates by some 3,000 years the physical laws of the conservation of energy and matter. These state that neither energy nor matter are ever lost, but are simply converted into different forms. Coal exists as physical matter and potential energy. When burnt, that potential energy becomes heat and light, which eventually becomes so dissipated that they cannot be seen. Even so, they cannot escape the universe as a whole. They cannot escape from the universe as a whole. It is therefore no great leap to see our individual lives, composed as they are of physical and spiritual energies, conforming to these laws. As Daisaku Ikeda states, quote, "Our lives exist, have always existed, and will always exist simultaneously with the universe. They neither came into being before the universe occurred accidentally, nor were created by a supernatural being." Nichiren Daishonin states that life and death are the alternating aspects in which our real selves manifests itself, and both are part of the cosmic essence. End quote. Myoho refers to this eternal rhythm of life and death. Nichiren Daishonin says, quote, Myo represents death and Ho represents life. Life and death are two phases. Life and death are two phases passed through by the entities of the 10 worlds, the entities of all the living beings which embody the law of cause and effect, Renge. No phenomena, heaven or earth, yin or yang, the sun or the moon, the 5 planets, or any life condition, from hell to Buddhahood, are free from life and death. Thus, the life and death of all phenomena are the two phases of Myoho Renge Kyo. In his Makashikan, Chentai says, the emergence of all things is the manifestation of their intrinsic nature, and their extinction the withdrawal of that nature into the state of latency. 2 more paragraphs. In other words, life and death can be likened to the black cat in the child's riddle, crossing the black and white stripes of a pedestrian crossing and saying, now you see me, now you don't. The fact that at any one particular time we cannot see the cat or the life of a particular person does not mean that it does not exist. Rather, Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism teaches that at death, life continues to exist, unseen in the state of Ku, and like the black cat on the black stripe, will definitely be seen again when it reappears in the state of Ki at some stage in the future, when the time and the conditions are right. Now, the right conditions for us to see the black cat is obviously when it's on a white stripe. And to get to a white stripe from a black one, and to a black stripe from a white one, all the cat has to do is walk. Essentially, the same pattern and movement applies to human life as well. Though to explain how it emerges from the state of death into the state of life, and vice versa, is a little more involved. Once more we have to return to the concept of the 3 truths of temporary existence, Ki, non-substantiality, Ku, and the middle way, Chu. That's the end of that chapter. Great book. The Buddha in Daily Life, Nichiren Daishonin, written by Richard Causton. That's the end of today's show. There will be many more, because we are about to start doing Fool's shows and publishing them all over Facebook. Not just me. There's a whole gamut of us. See you soon.